Good evening, everybody. Wanted to pop on here and give you guys a update in regards to this severe threat tonight for very isolated areas here in Illinois and also parts of Indiana here. But this is heading into a more populated area, so I did want to pop on here and give you guys a heads up. If you guys know of anybody who live in the path of this storm, let's go ahead and call some of these cities out here. But overall, we have one lone severe storm here that has taken shape in Illinois. This storm has traversed all the way basically from the Iowa area, traveling all the way across Illinois, and is about to head into Indiana, but it's on a beeline for Terre Haute. And the reason that we are going live with this right now is because the hail in this storm is currently confirmed to be tennis ball size. So as this crosses towards Terre Haute, that's a pretty big populated area down there. So we wanted to hop on here and give you guys the heads up. The storm is still about a county and a half away from Terre Haute, but we're just kind of getting the head start on this and just kind of stay on here for a few minutes and just talk about the storm just for a second. So, along the path of this storm, though, we have had multiple reports of golf ball size hail. This is what you see 1.75 here. These are spotter reports here, storm chasers who are out watching the storm. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the past hour alone. That is insane. Like this storm, you can tell here on radar, this hail core is insanity. If I were to switch over here to a VIL product, which is basically a hail size tracker, we see a very big return here on our, we call it vertically integrated liquid. Basically just kind of measures the droplet size in the atmosphere. When you see these purples, reds, and even yellows and oranges show up there, that just means it's very, very large hail here. So the hail core right now is currently over the town of Arcola and areas in the path. This is Illinois, by the way. This is east central Illinois. This is heading towards the Terre Haute area, but other places include Rardon, Oakland, Charleston. Charleston looks populated down here. Kansas, Grandview, Westfield, Paris, Vermilion, Denison, Oliver, Marshall, and then it crosses over into Indiana, which Terre Haute is the main concern here. If this storm continues into the Terre Haute area, with golf ball plus size hail, even tennis balls being reported with the storm. That is not going to be a good situation. But of course, it is affecting rural areas here in Illinois. So, I mean, it's still affecting people right now. It's just the more populated area. Luckily, here is off to the south currently and also further ahead to the east. So, that is the storm that we're kind of watching. Further north, we do have a couple other areas of interest here for large hail. Excuse me, more so up here towards the South Chicago area. No warnings up there in effect for those storms, but there is a large hail threat with any of these storms that do happen. To get a hold of the better environment. Now, these storms are also north of the warm front here, so it's a little bit less of a threat up here, but we can still see there's a lot of lightning with these cells. Just south of Chicago, those are going to push into northern Indiana and also southern Michigan overnight. As these press further eastward, it will lose intensity, and also further north into Wisconsin and Michigan, there is no severe threat, but we could see some good lightning and maybe some small hail with these storms. But most of this is coming from this one storm, just literally one storm that has been going for at least 3 or 4 hours now from Iowa all the way about to cross into Indiana. Has shown signs of weak rotation. But this has remained what we call elevated. So this storm does mostly just contains a large hail and then some downburst winds potentially. There is a low tornado threat with this storm, although just judging how the storm has interacted so far tonight, I don't think that's going to materialize. So I think the tornado threat is quite low, if not just very, very low at this point. But I think the large hail threat alone for this cell is quite concerning. We can see all this clutter here on this product here. This is all your hail that's getting chucked out of the storm. So golf ball size hail is being reported. Radar indicated is also right around 2 inch in diameter, which is going to line up just under, just above golf ball, but below a tennis ball size. So it's still very large hail. It only takes a quarter to blow out your windows on your cars, maybe your house as well. So we get tennis ball size. We're talking major damage to roofing, to cars, it's anything, a siding, just this is not a good situation if the storm does not weaken as it heads towards the Terre Haute, Indiana area. This is East Central Illinois, heading into West Central Indiana towards Terre Haute, Indiana. The nearest biggest town currently is Terre Haute. Otherwise, we have Decatur, Illinois over here. So West Central Illinois is the current concern. There's only one storm that is currently severe warned, and that has been severe warned for hours. It hit Lincoln, Illinois, all the way down here. It's basically heading right for Terre Haute. So this is kind of why we hopped on here, knowing that Terre Haute is more populated, and the storm is now kind of checking out tennis ball size hail. It also has a history here. We see all these orange squares on the map here. These are all hail reports in the past hour through Decatur, Illinois. And the latest one here is 1.25 inch, so about $half size hail that was reported by Public in the town of Arthur, Illinois. The one back here was golf ball size, and that was in Moultrie County, 4 miles southwest of Hammond. So if you guys know anybody in the path of this storm, it's not tornadic at this point. Don't expect it to be tornadic, but the hail threat, if they have a garage or they can jam their car against the side of their house to protect it from hail, do so. Like, get them aware of the storm, especially for those between this storm and Terre Haute. Terre Haute is right over here, basically right in its path here. The current track of this suggests arrival here in about an hour or so in Terre Haute, maybe just a little before that. So they got about an hour between where the storm arrives from where it is to where it arrives here, and any places in between. Obviously, it's currently over Arcola, about to be over Oakland, Rardon, Kansas, Redmond. So you guys are basically out of time. You guys need to be getting your cars into their safe places. We always talk about getting yourself into a safe place like a basement or a closet, but today it's your cars. If you have anything valuable outside, maybe a four-wheeler or anything that could get damaged by large hail, it's a great idea to get that secured, protected. If you have a garage, that's obviously the best case scenario. If you don't have a garage, try to, put it against your house or maybe up against a garage or a barn or something, just to protect it from a lot of, hail. This is a storm that you don't want to mess around with. This is something that we don't really see very often this early in the season. So people can get caught off guard with these golf balls for sure, but tennis ball size hail here definitely on the table. And it was reported earlier by Public that it was tennis ball size, so we do have that confirmed out of this storm. This was actually what the warning, I believe, is for. Actually, they downgraded this to just golf ball, but the one before it, I don't know if you guys can see on my screen. I guess you guys can't, but it did say tennis ball size was reported with the storm. So Terre Haute, just be for areas in Terre Haute, between Terre Haute and to the storm here. So Kansas, Oliver, Marshall, Westfield, Paris. You guys definitely going to be in for a doozy of a storm here. It doesn't look tornadic at all. Just going to be a lot of hail, probably some gusty winds too, because that's all that hail falls. We're talking about that hitting the ground, spreading outward. It can cause downburst, microburst type of winds. So gusty winds here as well, definitely possible. But the main concern with this is going to be hail. Through the night, though, this storm looks to be the only storm worth really mentioning, although if any of these storms up here towards Paxton, Champaign area, they could go severe as well for hail. It's in a decent environment, but the further south you go, the better environment becomes. So anything south of the storm, there really isn't anything to be concerned about. Taking a radar further south, there's currently nothing here on radar. I'm going to let this load in for it. Yeah, okay, so nothing on radar down there. So this does appear to be the only storm that decided to fire up here. I don't think we're going to get anything else between now and the overnight hours. There's going to be this one storm here traversing through south central Indiana. Luckily, this is heading on a southeast track, so Indianapolis looks to be spared with this storm. But Terre Haute here, what is the population of Terre Haute? I know it's quite large down there. I'm going to look this up really quickly. 58,000 people. So that is quite a significant population there that's going to be affected by this storm here. If I take a track here on Radar Omega behind the scenes, you're not going to see this, but it'll tell me what the population of this is. At least it should. If it continues on its track, moving about 50 miles an hour, we're going to calculate that. Population is 138,000 people. So that's a lot of people in the path of golf ball to tennis ball size hail. So that's a lot of insurance claims, a lot of damage to windows, your cars. I mean, this is quite a serious situation. It's not tornadic, obviously. It's not going to destroy your house per se, but it may destroy your car and blow out your windows. So definitely be indoors if you're outside. There's no reason to be outside. I know if it's a nice day down there today. People probably out partying on the weekend here, having cookouts. I'm sure there's some people still outside. They may not be aware of this, but they will be aware of it pretty soon if they're in the path of this storm. That's for sure. But again, golf ball size hail is being reported, and we did have a report here of tennis ball size about 20 minutes ago that did prompt a destructive severe warning, which is kind of why we hopped on here. Those probably triggered the EAS alerts on your phones, so on and so forth. So that's kind of why we're live here. Just overall, just watching the storm as it moves into the Indiana area. Illinois is in our coverage area. However, most of the areas that it impacted was rural. And now that it's becoming into a more populated area and also checking out tennis ball size hail, obviously we want to make that known to you guys. We've been posting on our accounts about the storm for a while. Hopefully you guys have seen those, but luckily, is anybody here watching from the area of Terre Haute who's in the path of this? Or does anybody know anybody from Terre Haute area? If you do, I would definitely suggest getting those people aware of this storm. It's only one storm. It's not widespread. It's pretty isolated in nature, so it's not going to affect everybody. But the people it does affect, this storm will probably be remembered by a lot of people for the hail. I see we just got a new MD here. Actually, it's an old MD. It's about an hour old. I'm just noticing this. MD is a mesoscale discussion, basically just discussion from the National Weather Service if they're going to issue a watch or not, and they're not likely going to issue a watch. It just says a long-lived supercell continues to traverse a diffuse warm front. Cape profiles are thin. Latest route forecast guidance, blah, 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 blah. You guys probably don't understand what it says. Basically, they're just saying hail threat continues, but it's not enough to warrant a severe thunderstorm watch for a large portion of the area. So that's the only reason we're not getting the watch. If this was more of a scattered event with multiple storms, we probably would have a watch, but because it's only one storm, it's just not going to warrant, multiple counties going underneath the watch. So that's probably their thinking behind that. But this is a storm that is, how tall is that? That is a great question, Julie. And I'm sure you guys would like to see this. So I'm going to stop sharing and present my entire screen because for some reason it opens in a new tab here. So we have an awesome tool here that can tell us how tall this storm is. So we're going to take a splice of this, take a full screen there. And this is basically an x-ray of the atmosphere here. So this is your storm updrafts, the cloud tops here. And the answer to that, Julie, is just over 40,000 feet. So these cloud tops are quite tall. I was honestly expecting maybe a little bit more than that, but 40,000 is quite tall. I was thinking closer to 50, but that's just not going to happen tonight, I guess. This is going to be, man, that's just at 40,000. So that is the 3D splice. We can also take a little bit better look here through the updraft of this storm and get a better idea of where this rotation is and where the hail is falling. And that's going to be your hail right there, up to about 25,000 feet. So good updraft to sustain large hail. That is for sure. What's the VIL? The VIL was exploding earlier, and it kind of still is. But if we were to go back here, how far can I go? I gotta go back even further. I'll go back further here, but it was almost all lit up, maxed out at the white color, purples and whites earlier. So I'll load that back in here slowly and get that for you. Actually, I think it just did load. Maybe it didn't. Let's go back even further here. Yeah, you can see the white there maxed out for a little bit, but it was worse before. Looks like it's kind of weakening right now, which is a great sign. Let's see if I don't want that. I want to pan. There we go. Let's go back even further here if we can. Not sure why it's not doing this. There we go. That's about where it probably peaked right there with those purples, the reds, and pinks. That's your large hail core. There we go. That's what I was talking about. A very wide swath of large hail there, just south of Hammond. I believe that's probably where that tennis ball size hail was first getting reported. It was just insanity there. Hopefully Decatur is okay. Decatur is a pretty populated area. It looks to clip the north side of town there earlier. But we had multiple. There's your 2.5 inch hail right there in Decatur from Broadcast Media. So that is a very reliable source there. If it was a public, you kind of question the public more so than emergency managers or even Broadcast Media. But 2.5 inch hail on the south side of Decatur showing up here on our storm reports. That was reported at 8:52. Or actually, for your guys' time, 7:52. I'm in Eastern time. You guys are in Central time out there. So, storm looks to have weakened at least a little bit. Good size hail core still continues. Um, Overall, I hope this weakens as it moves toward Decatur. It should continue to weaken gradually through the evening. But if this does continue, it's going to make a beeline right for Terre Haute. Looking at the animation of this, it's pretty much directly on a collision course with Terre Haute, which you can't see Terre Haute. It's down here where I'm circling with my mouse. That's the 60,000 plus population area here. In the path of this from where it's at to right around Bloomington is right around the 130, 140,000 people uh, population threshold. So quite a large portion being affected here as it crosses. As it gets closer to Indiana border here, the population increases as you get closer to Terre Haute too. So we'll stay on here as long as it continues to traverse towards Terre Haute. But right now, the only threat with this storm continues to be large hail. If you guys are watching this from the Terre Haute area, it's not tornadic, but it is chucking very large hail. And by large hail, I mean close to probably golf balls, if not tennis balls here. So, Julie, I don't understand why. Are you what account are you watching from? Because we're live on three different places right now. Yeah, Nathan, it does have a nice hook there on radar. However, let me look that up there for you, Leanne. The hook right now is pretty elevated. The rotation has remained above the surface, so we're not really concerned for tornadoes at this point. Looking at the velocity here, it's just not reaching the ground. All we're really getting is winds, either inflow winds to the storm or outflow from the hail core itself. But um, we're not really seeing much in the way of any tight rotation. Liam, was that Bedford, Indiana, or Bedford, Illinois? Let me know because there's both. If we're talking Indiana here, you are going to be you're a good ways away from this storm. If it continues its track, you'll probably have it in about 2.5, 3 hours, which hopefully by that time it weakens. But you would be about in line with where this path would continue on. So Bedford, Indiana is way down here, right here. But this storm is pretty much, I mean, directly towards you, but it's a good portion or good ways away. So I don't think it's going to make it all the way to you in terms of severity. So it should weaken, if not die, by the time it gets to you. But if it doesn't, pay attention, 2, 3 hours in advance here. No problem. No problem, Leon. Yeah, Julie, what account though? You're watching through the GLSCN account or you're watching through the Indiana account? Because we have state accounts now. If you're watching through the GLSCN account, the stars should be able to send. Those are turned on, and they should. Okay, yeah, this should be working. I'm not sure why they wouldn't be. Let me check on that real quick. Looks like the hail core here is still on a weakening trend, which is great news. If this continues to weaken, we'll probably hop off here sooner rather than later. But if it continues to strengthen, or starts to strengthen at least, we'll be on here for a little bit longer. Yeah, stars are turned on. So I really can't do anything from my end of things. So that's weird. Let me try and do it from my personal account here. Sorry, guys, a little bit technical difficulties behind the scenes here. Let me try and log on and see if I can get it. So for those of you just tuning in, this storm is in east central Illinois, heading towards the Terre Haute, Indiana area. It's about to cross the border into Indiana in about, we'll probably say 20 minutes or so. Um, Maybe a little bit longer than that, 30 minutes maybe. Once it does, we'll be hitting Terre Haute here. It does look like it's trying to turn more so southward at this point, though. So that'd be great news for Terre Haute if it does turn south. So, hey, Julie, if you're still watching, I just tried it out on my personal and it went through. It looks like, yes, it just went through. So, are you on? If you're on Android, it might be different for Android, but I'm on Apple iPhone and it doesn't seem to be an issue for me. So the severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect here. The current counties that are in this would be just one county, northeastern Cole County in east central Illinois. This is going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So they're dropping the warning here gradually. Was tennis ball to golf ball. Now it's back to quarter size. So great news here. They're saying it's moving east-southeast at around 40 miles per hour. So areas in the path of this would be Marshall, Oliver, Grandview, Kansas, Ashmore, Westfield, Clark Center, Martinsville, Denison, and hopefully it'll miss Terre Haute. But Terre Haute is going to be very, very close to this storm. If this misses Terre Haute, it'll be a miracle. Although it is turning more southerly, so that's great news. It might continue that track here. Hopefully it dies further south here and stays in rural areas. All right, guys, I apologize. If you guys can't see those words on the screen there, those are cities. Let me see if I can't make those bigger for you, which I can. Give me 1 second here. Let's go 16. See how there's a difference there. That look better for you guys? It takes some of those cities off the screen, but it makes the ones bigger, or the bigger cities, a larger font. I'm kind of curious if they're going to reissue that warning here for turn my counties on here. I'm not familiar with this area. I'm from Michigan. For those of you who are watching out of state, I am originally from Michigan, so I am new to Illinois, Indiana area, and also Ohio for that matter too. Let me get this the county names turned on here for those of you who are local. Clark County is the one I'd be more so. Edgar and Clark counties would be the one where it's going to be heading into. So. Awesome. Hopefully that makes a little bit of difference here. I can also take the overlay off the screen as well to make this bigger for you guys. I can just go ahead and switch my layout. There we go. Makes it a little bit better for you guys. That should be a lot better for you. Usually I save the overlays for we have chasers out in the field, but because it's just me tonight on radar, we can just go ahead and blow it up a little bit for you. So luckily, only one storm that's really been severe warned, or severe at all. A couple of these storms up in further north central Illinois may contain some hail. A lot of lightning showing up on radar, that's for sure. But overall, the severe threat does appear to be further south here where that slight risk is in effect, or was in effect. I had not seen if they did away with that or not. In fact, we can actually look at that here. Let's go ahead and switch that on real quick. Kind of curious what they did with that. So they did keep the slight risk in effect there for Indiana, from Indianapolis down to Bloomington. basically just for this storm. So this area in yellow here is your slight risk for large hail and damaging winds. So that's um, remains in effect there. That's going to be for um, again hail and wind there, and further north here just going to be for wind or sorry for hail. Excuse me, primarily in this darker green area. It's kind of hard to see from Ottawa, Kankakee, all the way through northwest, northern, northern Indiana here, Huntington area, all the way over towards Lima, Ohio, over toward Dayton. That goes all the way basically to the border of West Virginia. So pretty large marginal risk. Any of these storms up here, they're saying may go severe warned as well, or may become severe, should I say. So we'll have to watch these up here just a bit. These could contain some hail. Overall, the threat does remain to the south currently. Let's check on the VIL up there. Let's see if anything's really, yeah, there's nothing really hail wise going on. It's just down here in this one storm, which does appear to be weakening still, which is great news. But this storm does still look like it's maybe trying to slowly die out, which is awesome news. It was looking like a pretty strong storm. That's weird, Julie. It might be just because it's a new account still. We've had that on. We've had stars unlocked here for about a month or so, so it shouldn't be anything new with that. Although I didn't see mine go through on this side either, so I don't know what's up with that. It said it was successful on Facebook when I sent it, but I didn't see it go through on the chat screen here, which usually I would. But so this storm, if we go back and watch the storm for a little bit, we can see how it's progressed here through the evening hours. It's just been a behemoth. I've called it a behemoth because of the large scale of this updraft here in the hail core here. If we were to look at the overall trend of the storm, it does appear to be diving further south, but also weakening here as well as it continues off to the south. So we'll have to see if it starts to, die out here, if it tries to re-strengthen as it heads toward the Terre Haute area. But Terre Haute and Marshall areas, you guys need to be on deck in your get your cars in your safe place. The storm is not tornadic, not concerned for that at all, but it does contain, or should I say, it has contained hail up to the size of tennis balls. The latest hail report we have is $half size hail. That was as of about a half hour ago in Arthur, which is Douglas County, I believe. This is going to be moving into a populated area, Clark and Edgar counties here. No warning yet in effect for you guys, but I do expect them to go ahead and reissue this. I'm going to assume they are. But if they don't, they're obviously seeing something that we're not. So let's stay on here and see what happens. But if the storm continues to die off or it dives further south of Terre Haute, we'll probably hop off here rather quickly. But for right now, we'll stay on. Yeah, John, the only one storm tonight that's really dominated the severity. This storm has hail all the way, hail reports all the way back to Iowa. So it's been, several hundred miles of severe weather or severe hail with the storm. But that's about it. We haven't had any other storm to worry about tonight, which is great news. It could have been a lot worse there with the environment, supporting large hail. So luckily, it's just one storm and not to worry about too much. But of course, we do have storms up here to the north that could go severe as well, mainly for hail. But those storms right now don't look to be that impressive. Let that load back in here. Yeah, just a bunch of thunderstorms here. A lot of lightning from Lafayette, Indiana, up towards the Kankakee area. Even South Chicago, Joliet area here, getting in that lightning action. Pontiac area. So any of these storms contain a lot of lightning, but overall hail threat, not looking. There's nothing here on products here that we're seeing for hail at this point. Not to say it's going to continue, but hopefully it continues. Yeah, it started in Iowa. This has been going on for several hours and several hundred miles. The storm was like moving almost due east, and all of a sudden it wants to try to shift to the south. So new track here puts it in Terre Haute at roughly 40 more minutes, but I don't know if I buy that or not. I think it's going to be there probably closer to 30. 20 to 30 minutes. We'll see how quickly it travels here. So this storm, well, the reason we're live here is because this storm prompted, okay, there's a new warning just got issued here. Northeastern Coles County, Edgar County, and Clark County until 10:15 Central Time. That's going to be for 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and also quarter-size hail. So they're keeping the quarter-size hail and your basic 60-mile-per-hour wind on this. That's going to be a severe thunderstorm warning. Again, it's going to be for Edgar, southern Edgar County, and then northern Clark County as well, as the storm moves out of Coles County into those counties I just mentioned here. And then also further downstream here, Vigo County, Terre Haute area is going to be on deck here, as well as Sullivan. Sullivan might be in this threat as well. If this storm, hopefully it splits these two towns. That'd be the best case scenario here. But it's a populated area, pretty much along that highway there, from Terre Haute to Sullivan. So it's if it can just miss the main towns, that'd be awesome at this point. Oh, sorry, April. That was probably my bad communicating that threat. A lot of people follow this account from the Michigan account, so they kind of expected to talk about Michigan more, so to speak. But we do talk about, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Wisconsin. So the way I worded that too, I think was a little bit confusing. So I think that's on me too, April. I'm not upset about it. Just the threat for Tuesday does look to stay south, about 2 county rows south of the Michigan border is what I should have said. But it's all good. That's crazy how it can maintain hail like that for that long. It's like a mobile ice machine. Yeah, pretty much. That's a great way to put it. Get your snow cones, everybody. Except this grapple, or no, it's hail. Let's check on our VAL product here. Let's go ahead and take this back here. So, it was weakening there for a little bit. It's just kind of maintaining now. Might be trying to strengthen back up a little bit towards the Kansas and Westfield areas here, just south of Oakland. Raritan. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Raritan. If I'm not, I apologize. There's our latest scan. So yeah, a little bit of an intensification back with the storm here. Hopefully, man. If this, I am concerned for Terre Haute. This is going to be a roofing company's payday. This is going to hit Terre Haute. Don't want to see that, but this is with tennis ball size hail possible with this, or was possible, or was reported actually, and now we're looking at at least quarter, maybe even larger than quarters. This is just quite an interesting storm. Hours or so far this evening. So, danger snow cones. Yeah. Is it riding the warm front, or is the warm front just to the south? You know what, Drew? That is a great. I think it's actually riding the front, because if you look at velocity, it's really cluttered here, like it's trying to ride it. Let me pull up mesoanalysis here real quick on the back side of this. So sometimes these storms can attach themselves to surface fronts like cold fronts, warm fronts. When they do that, they can do this, and they can last a while. Yeah, it's actually just south of the warm front, if not on the warm front there, Drew. Let me pull up the actual front. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's basically on the warm front. Yeah. So that would explain it. Danger snow cones. Yep. How's the instability look ahead of it? Okay, let's check that out too. In fact, let's just go ahead and pull it in. Like, why don't we just go ahead and have a teaching session here? This is a mesoanalysis page of everything we're going to need to look at severe weather. So here is your surface instability. We have 0, basically nothing. So you think, why is this storm severe? If I go ahead and switch over here to the mixed layer, or maybe MU cape here, we're going to see there's a little bit of cape down here just south of that storm. But I think the majority of this cape is going to be, yeah, there you go. Their most unstable cape up on the upper levels of the atmosphere they're there. 500 to 1,000 of it, which is going to support that hail as well. Let's look at the lapse rates here. Let me see if I can't find that. Yonder thermals. There we go. Uh, where is it? So low-level lapse rates are quite weak with this, but mid-level are pretty good, and your upper levels are pretty good too. So it does have a good environment for hail, that's for sure. I know you guys probably didn't understand any of that, but overall, surface instability is not going to support wind or tornadoes with this. But there is a lot of instability up in the upper levels of the atmosphere that do support hail with this storm. So there's also a couple other things like lapse rates, different ingredients we look for to kind of pinpoint threats. So lapse rates are a change of temperature with height. So that is quite supportive as well. The good news though with this storm is I'm noticing there's no spotter reports coming in between the last one that happened in Arthur and currently here in Kansas. So that's great news. What's that page called? If you go, first and foremost, if you don't know much of those terms, I wouldn't use it. But if you were to type in meso, MESO, and then analysis on Google, you should pull the page up. It should be your first option to open up and look at. There's a ton of data on there. If you don't understand weather very well or terminology, I wouldn't utilize it. It can be pretty easy to get confused with that. Current temperature in Terre Haute is 65 degrees over a 56 dew point. People always say, oh, you need 60 dew points or higher to get severe weather. Well, it's happening right now in Illinois with 55 and 56 dew points here. So I don't want to hear that argument. All right, so we are closing in here on Terre Haute, Marshall, and also Farmersburg, also Sullivan down here as well. Sullivan was hit by a tornado, I believe, 1 year ago today, if I'm not mistaken. EF3, I believe, that was Sullivan. So hopefully we don't repeat that in Sullivan here. The storm right now looks to stay to the north of there, but if it turns more southerly like it's been trying to do, although it's more so moving back to the east here, basically on a beeline for Terre Haute. Am I frozen on your guys' end? Because I'm frozen on my end. Interesting. I have myself frozen, so my Wi-Fi's been acting up tonight. I'm not sure why, but my face is frozen in a very awkward spot. So as long as you guys don't see it, I'm not going to be concerned about it. Oh, it is frozen? Oh, man. Oh, geez. Okay. We'll go ahead and just ignore it then. In fact, I can do this instead. Take myself completely off the screen. That's better. So a severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect here for Clark County as well as Edgar counties. Moving towards the Vigo County, towards Terre Haute, Indiana. This is going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds possible, and also the main threat with this storm continues to be large hail. This storm will be continuing off to the east-southeast at around 40 to 50 miles per hour. The storm does have a history of producing tennis ball-sized hail, which is also why you have us live currently. We wanted to hop on here because it triggered EAS alerts across portions of Illinois. So we wanted to hop on here, get you guys covered up to date with what's going on. So you'll see us live here until the storm is either weakened or back into a less populated area. So first concern here is Terre Haute. If it turns more southerly than Farmersburg, Sullivan areas, then you guys are basically in line with that. But if it continues on its east-southeast track, Bloomington would be in the path of this, and Bloomington's quite a large area as well. But after that, it goes into a forest until you get over towards the east central Illinois, southeast Illinois, towards Seymour, and by that time it should be completely weakened with this. So hopefully we don't have to stand here too long. I just wanted to get you guys equipped and informed about this heading into Terre Haute. Remember the February tornado in Walworth County, Wisconsin, that had 2% tornado? Yeah, people, I don't understand. People all the time like say it's only a marginal risk. It's only a 2% risk. It's not very high. But they don't understand, like, the SPC doesn't really, it's hard to explain SPC risks. It really is. We do our best, but a 2% risk should never be discounted, even a marginal risk. A lot of Michigan tornadoes happen on 2% days and also marginal risk days. Also slight risk for that matter, 5% tornado days and slight risks. Those are the majority of our tornadoes here in Michigan, but also here in the region. If we look at like say Grand Blanc and Marshall, I believe was a 5% if I'm not mistaken. But Grand Blanc, the EF2 that hit Grand Blanc, Michigan, was in a marginal 2% risk. So never discount a threat just because it's a low threat. You know what I mean? All right, Julie. I'm just gonna ignore that right now. I took it off the screen. You guys shouldn't be seeing it anymore. Seems fine here. Huh. On my end, I turn my camera completely off and I turn it back on. I'm still frozen. I could try. I don't know if I can do this or not. Hold on. This is going to work. I don't know. Perfect night to have camera quality issues here. There we go. I'm back. Woohoo. At least I'm back on my end. Is this going to be hitting Frankfort or Michigantown, Indiana area? I'm not familiar with Frankfort area. Let me go ahead and Google that real quickly. I'm from Michigan. So bear with me here as I learn these other areas here. Frankfort, Indiana, no. This is way to your south there. Although you may have a couple other storms here further north moving into your area. They're not currently severe, but they do have a small chance of producing some larger size hail. The wind and tornadic threat tonight is quite low. So overall, you do have some storms just off to your north and west, looks like. And these do not look organized at all. So this is some heavy rain and some lightning, maybe some small hail with that. Not really concerned with that patch of storms at this moment. Yes, I believe it was too, Jessica. And that was actually an EF3, and people actually, unfortunately, lost their lives that day, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go ahead and take the. Where is this at? Let's go ahead and take the Indianapolis radar. See if we can get a better idea what's this looking like. Wait for this to load in here. It's just outside what I want to look at, so we'll keep it on the ILX radar. So load back in here momentarily. Severe warning continues. This is going to be for same threats here, quarter size hail, as well as 60-mile-per-hour winds. Is this not going to load in for me now? Of all times. All right, I guess we're going to keep it on Indianapolis then, because why not? Did KLX go down? What if it went down? No. Huh. All right. Not sure what's up with that, but we do have other radars behind the scenes here. I can just pull up in a moment's notice here. We got radar Omega, we got radar scope, we got all sorts of radars to pull up and utilize if one goes down. So we got you guys covered. What made you get into online weather spectrum? Did you get paid? Do you get paid for it? Do you have advice people like me? Okay, so I honestly, so let me split this into two, like a story time, I guess. I worked with a page called Indiana Storm Chasers. It still exists for 3 years. I forgot how old I was, like 19, 20, 21, 22. Um, and then on there for about 5 years actually, from 2019 to 2023, really, or 2022, actually. So we got 3 years, 2019, 2022. Um, you, One thing I noticed here living in Michigan, I noticed that Michigan doesn't have a storm chasing page. There are pages who post weather information, weather forecasting, stuff like that. But nobody storm chased. No one actually, posted content from storms, stuff like that. So the idea of how I got into it was an account called Michigan Storm Chasers that exists today. We started that back last year, and it was originally supposed to be for um, just kind of like getting people aware of severe weather. Communicating threats, and just kind of simplifying some of the jargon that's posted by maybe local meteorologists. Sometimes it's SPC, NWS. Like we just try to kind of water it down, so to speak, to be better understood by the general public. So that's kind of how it got started. But we quickly became popular with our storm chasing, and we just kind of decided, hey, why not just run radar? Like we had this genius idea. Why not have somebody at home at we call home base, and all chasers are out in the field that stream back, and we do it live. And all of a sudden, we started doing that, and our account just started blowing up. Literally, we went from 0 followers to 105,000 followers in about a year. It blew up fast, and this account now exists because other areas we have storm chasing pages. We have like an Ohio storm chasers. There's Illinois. There's Indiana. There's actually Wisconsin as well. But none of those accounts do what we do. None of those accounts stream radar, live storm chase, and this just doesn't happen. So this is why we're expanding. But advice, I would say, be passionate, and then you'll find your way. Learn as much as you can. It doesn't take a degree to do this, but it does take a lot of knowledge of what to communicate, how storms behave, so on and so forth. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's an everyday thing. Do I get paid for it? It's not much at all. You can get paid selling your content. You can get paid sometimes depending on the platform you utilize. Like for example, Facebook. Uh, you can monetize your page for like subscriptions. People can subscribe to the page. You can send stars here on live streams, but it takes some work to get it unlocked. So it's very little. It's very hard to make a living in this field of work unless you're full time, like reporter for AccuWeather or Weather Nation, so on and so forth. Independently, it's very hard. Nope, Jordan. No severe weather for Michigan tonight. Although you could have a rumble of thunder further south in southern Michigan. I think you're good up there in Flint, though. Looking up here at Michigan, for those of you who are watching from Michigan, we do have a basically just scattered showers and storms are going to push more so eastward overnight. In fact, is it raining at my house? I actually just got a weather system that's going to tell me if it's raining and how much rain I got, et cetera, et cetera. So right now we do have some rain moving into the area along 94 here in Michigan. I don't see any lightning with these though. It just looks like rain. So just rain with rumble of thunder for South Michigan, but up there towards Flint for you're at Jordan, you should be good. I'm looking at that, Julie. I'm going to look at the IWX radar here and see if I can pick anything out. I don't see anything. No. Although I am excited to test out this new rain gauge I got. So, kind of curious how that plays out. There is some lightning further south here towards Fort Wayne. Looking, there's just nothing. Oh, we got Caleb joining us now. He is the fellow founder of Great Lakes Storm Chasing Network. Nice to have you, Caleb.
Yeah, how's it? I can't let you have all the fun at night. Come on.
Man, I was just kind of waiting for the storm to, hit Terre Haute and maybe hop off here just because it moves into a more wooded area. But hey, glad to have you on here, dude.
Absolutely.
So got GR2 rolling here. Looks like the storm might be trying to turn. Was trying to turn south there for a little bit. Now it's not.
Right now, it's just kind of riding the warm front, and so it's just on the north side of the warm front, just riding the north of the moisture axis there. Dew points where it's at are in the mid 50s, so that's probably part of the reason why that meso is elevated, though it's in an area of really favorable wind shear at the surface in the first kilometer. Those lower dew points are having a hard time allowing that rotation to come down. So right now it's remaining elevated as a hail threat, and I expect that to continue.
I'm not sure what just happened, but my computer just went dark. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you, yeah.
I can't see anything. It just went completely dark on me. I have no idea what just happened.
Hopefully we'll get Ryan back here in a second.
Am I back?
You are back. I can.
Okay. Oh, GR2 just completely crashed. Okay. That's
Oh,
why.
really? Mine's still working on my end.
Okay. Well, I got other radars back here I can just pull up here. Unless you want to share yours, you are more than welcome to. But I was going to try to pull in this right here and also kind of echo off what you said with that dew points in the mid 50s. We also have very little surface instability at all to work with. So surface instability is what you need to get severe weather, like damaging winds, tornadoes, stuff like that. But we do have a good amount of what we call most unstable CAPE in the upper levels of the atmosphere here, which is why we have hail that's golf ball plus size at this point.
Yeah, a lot of that's in part due to the amount of cold air that we have up there.
Right.
There's a lot of cold air.
Looking at lapse rates as well, 3 to 6 kilometer lapse rates, which is kind of like what we look for hail, change of temperature with height. They're 7.5 right now, which is decent.
Yep. Anything over 7 is pretty good.
Go ahead and take back the other radar here. Looks like the IND Indianapolis office is going to forgo that severe warning for now. They issued a special weather statement for Terre Haute. This is going to be for penny-sized hail and winds in excess of 30 miles per hour. So it looks like they're going to forgo that, at least for now. Looking at the reports from spotters and stuff like that, we haven't had a severe report in a good long time, which is great news. About an hour and a half ago, we had a tennis ball size report. So that was the reason we hopped on here. Who's out chasing this? We have Parker Winkleman. Nobody really active. We got Nathan and Melinda. Huh. Let's go ahead and get this background back on. My background is not going to work tonight, so you're going to see my lovely spare room back there. So this is currently in the east central part of Illinois, moving in towards the is it Vigo or Vigo County, Caleb?
I don't know off the top of my head.
You're the Indiana man here. Come on.
I know.
What's up, Tanya? Let's go ahead and try and get GR2 loaded back up. Oh, there we go. We got Caleb. We're on the show now.
I actually switched programs. My radar. I went to radar scope. My GR2 is lagging there for a little bit.
Yeah, something's up with that.
I'm not really sure what's going on there, so I switched here.
Looking on the VIL product, though, the VIL is almost completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
So we had that.
You can still see a bit of the hail core there. Let me pause it here. there where your coalition coefficient is, right in there. Well, right in there is going to be your hail core, kind of right in there. It is kind of on the weakening trend, though. As you let this play out, kind of see back in here how it had a more prolific hail core, and as it moves closer to the Indiana Illinois border, it's kind of weakening a little bit. We'll just have to see how that trend continues here as it continues to interact and move along the warm front.
I'm going to echo this just a little bit here, focusing a little bit to the further north of this storm up by Kankakee. We do have one cell here that is starting to gain intensity here, both on reflectivity, but also on VIL product here as well. At least it was on the other side of this. Not on this radar as much, but it did show a little bit of a return there on radar scope. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Oh, that's why. I'm on the KLX radar. I thought I was on the KLOT radar. My bad. That load back in there. That's actually old though, so. Yeah, you can kind of see it there, bottom left. It's green and yellow on my end of things. You guys can see this, but that's what I'm seeing on radar scope. I'm not sure what's up with GR2.
Oh, okay. I am on the 1028 scan on radar scope here out of Chicago.
Yeah, I'm on the 1026 out of Lincoln.
But again, these are all elevated storms here across northern Illinois, northern Indiana. Main threat with these are pea-sized hail and gusty winds, and rain and some lightning, obviously, but nothing too intense at the moment, nor are we expecting anything too nasty out of these tonight. So don't be surprised if you wake up to a rumble of thunder tonight and maybe some pea-sized hail pinging against your windows in some of these.
Luckily today, the storms, should I say, have remained pretty isolated at best. We only had that one storm that started in Iowa, basically traversed the entire state of Illinois as a severe thunderstorm. And now it's just about to hit the Terre Haute area here. I'm curious to see if IND is going to issue a warning for this. Just curious. But
yeah, I'm not sure who's working down there tonight.
Looking on the VIL on radar scope too, it looks like it's trying to come back there, but on just a bit. I'm on the IND radar. It looks like it's trying to get a hail core, sustaining itself again.
Yeah, you can see it right in there.
Yeah, it looks better there. I'm going to stop using GR2 and just use a radar scope here.
Try something here.
So counties that are currently under a severe thunderstorm warning are Clark County and also Edgar County in east central Illinois. And then west central Indiana, we do have a special weather statement here for Vigo County. And that's going to be for penny-sized hail. So this storm is on a weakening trend from what it was. We were seeing golf balls, tennis balls getting chucked out across central Illinois.
Not really sure what's going on there.
Still got a good inflow to it.
No, I was referring to GR2.
Yeah, I X'd it out. Laptop's working fine, though. I don't understand that. Laptop runs smooth. Computer runs... Is Michigan out of the woods? Yes. Michigan is not currently in a severe threat tonight, although if you live along I-94, don't be shocked if you hear a rumble of thunder overnight, although that chance is quite low. There currently is no lightning up that way with these storms. Just gonna be some rain, and I'm actually looking forward, Caleb. I just telling the people before you hopped on here that I just got a rain gauge set up today, and I'm just getting my first rainfall here. So I'll be watching my digital rain gauge here for the first time to see how it does.
Nice, very nice.
Pressure is rising. It's currently 40 degrees. It's nice to have a little display off here to look at.
Oh, it is. Totally is.
What's up, Kevin? Late to the live stream. Yeah, you missed one storm in Illinois doing a lot of hail damage. That's about it. We haven't seen anything
The tennis
dramatic.
ball size hail at one point.
Yeah, reported by broadcast media. So that's
And
about all
it's
we've
still
had today.
trying to hang on, but
It's struggling
right
hard.
now. Right now, I don't see this warning being extended at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There are some little cells starting to fire off in Ohio here.
Yeah, I saw that too. They also have lightning.
Some lightning. Yeah, there's some lightning in there. Looks like maybe some pea-sized hail in some of these. Where you see some of that darker green there, maybe some peas. Again, we don't expect widespread severe weather tonight. Greatest hazards with these are small hail and gusty winds and heavy rain in a lot of these thunderstorms. And then this is just outside of Wilmington, Ohio for those. From Wilmington to Dayton, kind of a boundary there.
So it looks like the hail core that's still trying to hang on here is directly over the town of Grandview, heading right for Oliver, Elbridge, Marshall area. Basically on a beeline still towards Terre Haute. So hopefully this stays generally weak. We don't want to see Terre Haute get hit by anything larger than a penny or or a nickel size. Once you get up to quarter plus, we're talking damage to cars, some windows, roofing, stuff like that. So Terre Haute population is 60,000 people, and we'd rather it go through rural areas, even though, obviously it's don't want to see anything severe, but if it's got to be severe, stick to rural areas, please. Are we going to be up tomorrow? Yes, we will be updating everything tomorrow here on this account. Although I think the threat that's kind of intriguing this Chasers and us, I think it's Tuesday, honestly. I haven't looked at the latest models, Caleb, but I saw there was talk about those. Watching Tuesday extremely close in particularly central Indiana and Ohio.
So here's something to watch. Here on the lower right corner of my screen, these are your echo tops, your cloud tops. Look how robust it was over here by Arcola, Illinois, compared to where it is now in Terre Haute. So to me, the storm is on the downtrend.
So those greens are probably like what, 30 to 40,000. Those blues are like what, 20,000 or so.
Yeah, as your greens are your highest tops. Your blues here, this is just your anvil that's getting blown. But right now, looks like it's probably, yeah.
It's on a weakening trend.
It is, and they did not reissue.
Yeah, I see that. I'm also looking on GR2, the updraft, the slice through, basically. We're talking 41,000 feet earlier. Now we're talking, to echo what you just said,
downwards of 30.
32 is what I got right now, and that's a little bit of a spike there. So we're just above 30 at this point. So that just means the storm is collapsing on itself. It's not as robust of an updraft. Weakening trend looks to be verifying right here. So that's awesome news. But we could still see some good size hail with this, although right now it does not look to be severe. If this continues to weaken, we'll probably hop off here. I don't see any reason to stay on too much longer. Just want to make sure this is going to be a little bit more so weak. Although it's lost its lightning too. I just noticed it had a few strikes, and now it's just got one. So that's awesome to see as well.
Yep. And sometimes you see a lightning spike just before the collapse of a thunderstorm too. So
Right.
they can be a precursor to a rapidly intensifying thunderstorm. But you can also get a lot of positive CGs during the breakdown of a thunderstorm as well. During that collapse, you get some massive charge separation there. That's not all that uncommon either.
Drew has a good question there for Caleb. Did you see that?
This time of year, pretty hard. Just because a lot of times to get that pattern, you need really good blocking. And this time of year, we have really strong thermodynamics. So the jet stream is really meridional, meaning that it's up and down, up and down. You really need a good holding pattern to get the omega block. So this time of year, it's hard to get that pattern to stay. That's more of a summertime pattern. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about here, that's your summertime heat dome that he's referring to. Your jet stream is way up to the north, breaching the edge of Canada, and that leaves high pressure across the central interior of the United States, leaving it very hot and humid. But this time of year, just by the way the subtropical jet and the polar jet are interacting, you just don't have the blocking coming together to allow that jet stream to hold in that position. It's very hard to get that this time of year. And it's hard enough to get warm fronts to go north of Lake Michigan this time of year with the cold water temps too. So, but that's on the surface though. But in terms of, 500 millibar and higher, your upper level pattern, it's very rare this time of year. Very uncommon. But as far as this storm goes, I am going to say she is on her way out. So if you're in Terre Haute right now, don't expect you're probably not going to see too much in the way of destructive hail. But some pea-sized hail, dime-sized hail probably isn't out of the question yet until this storm is weakened a little bit more. If I pause it here, so we lost our yellows, we lost our greens. That's good, or our whites rather. So right now, probably looking at pea to dime size hail. So that's encouraging.
Yeah, we haven't had a spot or report severe hail at all past like 90 minutes or so, which is, we were seeing it consistently there for a while. Now we're not seeing anything at all, which is awesome.
No, you were seeing anywhere from $50 to golf ball there for repeatedly.
Yeah.
But right now another thing that really lets you know a storm's on its way out when the National Weather Service does not feel the need to even issue a special weather statement on this at this time. Special weather statement is needed when storms are not quite to severe criteria, but are expected to remain below that. IND is usually really good about issuing warnings and statements, and as testament to the storm being on its way out, and that's what they're probably seeing at this time as well. So
I think with that being said, though, I think it'd be a good time to end the stream here as well, taking one last look around besides the storm that's heading into Terre Haute. We do have a couple. I'm going to take my radar here if you don't mind, Caleb, real quick.
Go for it.
We do have a couple of storms here that have fired up near the Kokomo area as well as Lafayette. I see 3 or 4 lightning strikes with these storms, so pretty isolated. But we could see rumble of thunder across north central Indiana here. Very, very low chance for severe hail with these, although it is a marginal risk that's still in place. Although it's a very low chance for that. No wind or a tornado is expected with these storms at all this evening. So don't be shocked if you have some pea-sized hail with these storms as they are. Don't be shocked if 1 or 2 might go warned. For that is quite low. So with that being said, I think it's a good place to end it. We will be live again most likely tomorrow covering any severe threat that happens, probably tomorrow night. We'll have updates in the morning as far as SPC's outlook, stuff like that. So appreciate you guys watching. That's all I got. You, Caleb?
Hey, I think we're good.
All right.
I'll see you guys tomorrow and probably Tuesday.
Yep. Sounds good.